Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Leading from Alignment with our good friend, coach, and mentor, John Opalewski. How are you today, John?
Hey, Jim, I'm doing good. It is 78 degrees outside today while we're recording this, and
Yes.
it has just been amazing weather. And it's kind of
Yeah.
sparked a thought in our mind about summer and
Yeah.
how to get ready uh, as a pastor for the inevitable uh,
Yeah.
wave of summer that happens in almost every church where
Yeah.
there are people who leave for vacation and family trips, and even the pastor is hopefully going to be taking some time
Yes.
off. And we talked in 187 about not fighting that. You know, Jim,
Yeah.
I was mentioning to you before we started 188 here today that um, I came out of before I was a lead pastor, I was a youth pastor. And the church that I was a part of as a youth pastor, summer was a personal mission to fight that trend,
Yeah.
that normal rhythm of church attendance. And so when I got to be a lead pastor, I thought, well, that's what you do, you know. And
Yeah.
if summer you start to fall off in attendance and salvations and all the other stuff that, a million years ago I used to measure, um, uh, man, you just set yourself up for disappointment,
Yeah.
and sometimes for thinking, I'm not a good leader. Maybe this is not the calling I have on my life. I said last week that more pastors tell me that they want to quit during the month of July than any other month in
Yes.
the year. And it
Yeah.
and it might be cumulatively, like the other 11 months
Wow.
versus July. It's like clockwork. And so last
Wow.
week we talked about more of the organizational side. We did spend a little bit of time talking about how summer can be a great opportunity for us as leaders to work on ourselves, on our
Yeah.
walk with God, on our relationships, on our physical well-being, and also an opportunity for us to maybe look at something organizationally, maybe as
Yeah.
one system and say, you know what, let's just pick it apart, see what's working, what's not working, what can we do to improve it in preparation
Yeah.
for the next wave that's coming, which is fall.
Yeah.
And so that's what we talked about last week. What I'd really like to focus on today, Jim, is the pastor and his time off or her time off during the
Yeah.
summer. Um, I think that there are really three pieces, and this might sound a little bit overkill, but I think there's really
Yeah.
three pieces to having a great vacation. Well, the first is pre-vacation planning. Uh, Second is the actual vacation itself, and thirdly is the re-entry to work,
Reentry.
after your
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah.
Um, I remember the first vacation I went on during my first year of pastoral ministry when I was a youth pastor. Jim, I was totally unprepared for that. There were so many loose ends that were not tied up, but it was the
Yeah.
first time I had ever taken a vacation in a pastoral role. And I
Yeah.
remember one of the associates, he stepped in for me and saved me. He just saved my bacon. Um, and when I got back from vacation, I apologized to him and he said, well, this was your first vacation. What did you
Yeah.
learn? And I said that I was totally unprepared for it. I just wasn't prepared. And so
Yeah.
I'd like to kind of break those three pieces
Yeah.
apart.
Please.
And here's the reason why. Because I think a little bit of preparation really increases the chance of you having a relaxing vacation.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the goal. So the pre-vacation piece, and Jim, you can jump in at any time here and let me know what
Yeah.
you're thinking. Um, but I see the pre-vacation planning really falling into maybe a few key areas. If you're a lead pastor, there's going to be writing prep.
Yeah.
And so I went on a 3-week vacation in end of January, beginning of February this year. I started writing a couple of months in advance
Yeah.
because we write for podcasts, we write for blogs, and I speak.
Yeah.
And so I started 2 to 3 months ahead of time. And what I did, Jim, is I just doubled up.
Yeah.
I didn't try to write 10 things a week. Instead of writing one blog a week, I wrote two.
Right.
Instead of writing one podcast a week, I wrote two. And over a period of time, doing that over several weeks, boy, we got ahead. And
Yeah.
so when I went on vacation, I didn't have to think about, oh boy, when I come back, man, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to write? We're going to be no, we had that settled. So I really think the writing piece can be something that gets in the way if we don't prepare properly. Any experience with that, Jim?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I'm gone, somebody else preaches when I'm on vacation,
Yeah.
but mission trips in the summer times, things like that. I think the moral of the story is preparation, so that
Mhm.
we're not doing 3 weeks worth of work while we're on vacation, and we're not trying to do 3 weeks worth of work the day we get back, and we're
Right.
not trying to do 3 weeks of work before we get on the plane to leave. We know this is going to be a surprise. We're taking time off. Certain things need to be done. So what do we do so that when we leave, we're at peace? Everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody
Yep.
has their instructions. I remember my pastor, the pastor I served with as a youth pastor, he said, "I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. Do everything I would do, and don't buy anything and don't sell anything." Those are my instructions. Just do what you think I would do, and don't sell the church while I'm gone. Don't buy another one while I'm gone. Like, that was not necessarily all the instructions a 25-year-old youth pastor needed to run a church of 300
Right.
people, but that was my instructions. And
Right.
I guess we can fake it till we make it. And he's a wonderful man. I don't mean to take anything away from him. He trusted me, which was his first mistake. But the other ones were not giving me more instructions. So,
Yeah.
but there was no. And if you get in trouble, call me. It's like, I don't. This was before cell phones, so you were on your own, young man. Live long, prosper, have a good life. And he
Right.
came back in 2 weeks, and I was wiser, I guess, but terrified for 2 weeks. So I agree, being prepared so everybody enjoys your vacation, not just you.
Right. And one of the things that we encourage pastors to do is if you're taking like a Monday to Monday vacation, which some pastors are, you're doing a Friday,
Yeah,
man, don't come back and preach that following Sunday.
yeah,
Um, have just a couple Sunday, your church will survive if you're not in the pulpit for two
yes,
weeks in a row.
yes,
Um,
yes,
so you won't have to be thinking about your preaching on
yeah,
Wednesday while you're still on vacation. That's coming on Sunday. And some of this stuff, this is uber practical stuff, and maybe you're listening or watching and thinking, well, I know all this. It's one thing to know it; it's another thing to do it. So we're here to
yes,
encourage you. Uh,
yeah,
do what you know. And here's a couple of other areas, Jim. Obviously, there's this whole pastoral care side of things, right? Like,
yeah,
who's going to do hospital visits? What are the emergency protocols?
yeah,
Who calls who when something happens while
yeah,
you're gone? Is there any scenario that happens that will call you back from vacation? What are those? Let's talk
yeah,
all that through ahead of time.
yeah,
You said that your lead pastor said, "Do you think I would do? Don't buy anything, don't sell anything."
yeah,
That's a little simplified version, but of
yeah,
what I do think though he was onto something, right? Like what decisions can be made while you're gone? Talk that through.
yeah,
What decisions can't be made while you're gone? Don't buy
yeah,
anything, don't sell anything.
yeah,
What can wait?
yes,
And what cannot. And so I think these are just some of the basic nuts and bolts from an old guy who's been on vacations a lot and has learned the hard way that
yeah,
without paying some attention to this, my vacation time is less than it doesn't deliver
yeah,
what I had hoped it would deliver to me.
yeah.
So
I
that's
think
the
another thought too is if you're a pastor, letting the congregation know these are the rules as well. The associate
that's
pastor's in
good.
charge. If somebody passes away, I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? But my children, for example, I don't want them resenting the ministry. So when your family becomes more important than my family has a legitimate beef. So I'm going away for a week. If somebody passes away and I can do the funeral when I get back, you'll be in my prayers. I love you. Please understand. So they're aware of what the dynamics are as well. If you need me, I'm really sorry to hear that because I'm not going to be available. You did that when you went on vacation with the whole team, and you said if it's an emergency, and you described what that was. What is an emergency? It's not like I'm lonely. That's not an emergency. Hey, I wonder how your vacation's going. Not an emergency. So
Right.
we knew what to contact. It was a very small list of very important things, and the
Yep.
whole team knew it. So everybody was fully aware of what you were asking of us, what was required of us as a team because of that.
Yeah. And I like the idea of including the congregation in this, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of you're not necessarily asking for their input. It's
No.
just you're letting them know,
Yeah.
here's
Yeah.
what's going to happen while I'm away.
Yeah. I think one
And
other thought too is if you're going to have a good vacation, leaving your home utterly exhausted because you packed everything in to the last minute before you leave, and then you threw some clothes in a suitcase and ran out the door. That's a
yeah,
terrible way. If
I
you're going to
agree.
have an 8-day vacation, maybe one of those is getting ready to go.
Yeah,
Like one day you're off. Everybody thinks you're on vacation, but you do your laundry, you take a nap, you pack your bags,
sure.
that kind of thing where you're part of your vacation. If you can't plan that prior to your vacation, maybe that's not a bad way to spend the first day of your vacation is relaxing so you can enjoy your vacation.
And that's why I like the prep idea, right, Jim? So I'm
Yeah.
not rushing at the end.
Yeah.
I didn't have to write before we left for that long vacation this year. I didn't have to write 8 blogs and 8 pods the week of. No, I
Yes.
mean, and it was just we were so ready
Yeah.
that way for it. So we encourage you to think about to have a great time off this summer. Put
Yeah.
some planning in now. Start
Yes.
working on some of this stuff
Very
right now.
smart.
Secondly, let's talk about your actual vacation
Yeah.
week or weeks. Now, in a perfect world, I would want every pastor to have 2 weeks off, a 2 week
Yeah.
stretch in a row off.
Yeah.
Why? Because it usually takes 3 days to unwind,
At least.
and
Yeah.
then you get a good 3 or 4 days, and then you get a good solid week where you are truly
Yeah.
rested and relaxed. And then I think this happens to most lead pastors a couple of days prior to returning, that knot in the gut starts to come back, and you start thinking about um, your responsibilities back at the church and back home.
Yeah.
Um, so so we know that 2 weeks it's a big ask, you know, for some guys.
Yeah.
Some of you are listening, you're bivocational, and that's really difficult. If you're
Yeah.
bivocational, you're just gonna have to work harder at this than people who
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
bivocational, but it's worth it. Um, During that week or weeks of vacation, we encourage you to consider total separation while you're on vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
No checking emails or voicemails, no reading leadership books. If you're reading leadership books on your vacation, I don't think you're really on vacation.
Yeah.
No work-related writing. Well, I'm going to catch up on my sermon. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
I want to say this the right way. You know what? You are important to what God is trying to accomplish at the church you lead. But look, if you have to always be on and always be there, I think you are taking on more responsibility than God ever intended you to take on.
Yeah.
And I think there's a misperception of your part of the equation and God's part in the equation of fruitfulness and vibrancy and health in your church. Make it your goal while you're on vacation to not be in a hurry at any point during your time away. I think that'd be
Yeah.
a great goal, right? So when Laura and I
Yeah.
were in Florida, Jim, we'd wake up, we'd watch the sunrise over the ocean. We would then walk the beach for an hour. We'd
Yeah.
come back, make a pot of coffee, sit on the patio. Yeah, there you go. Sit
I'm
on
gonna
the,
use my imagination. Go keep talking, John. This is awesome.
yeah, Jim is envisioning this. And then we would get back, like I said, make a pot of coffee and then sit on the patio 3 stories up over the ocean and watch the water for another hour while we sip coffee. And then we just said, hey, what do you want to do? Well, let's go do lunch. But trying your best to not be rushed.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got kids,
Yeah.
that can create some challenges for you
Yeah.
when it comes to not feeling rushed. So I
Yeah.
get that. We raised four
Well,
boys. Go ahead, Jim.
start with coffee. If you have kids on with you on vacation, start with coffee, and then maybe the rest of the day can progress. But don't wait an hour or
Yeah.
a mile walk on the beach. Yeah, that's
But if you've got kids on vacation with you, I would just suggest this, that when the kids are asleep, when the kids are down for whatever, take advantage of those times to rest, relax, watch water if you like that, or if you like the mountains, and you're in the mountains.
Yeah.
So make it your goal to separate totally for a week
Yeah.
or two, and make it your goal not to be in a hurry at any point during your time away, if possible. And again,
Yeah.
that is seen through the qualifying lens of whether you have kids or if those kids are little. That can create some other dynamics for you. So,
What you just described to me, John, was like the rhythm in the Garden of Eden. There's plenty, there's time, there's the people I love, there's comfort, and all of these are blessings from God. And so I think
right,
creating that rhythm from the garden, as near as possible. Actually, if your kids get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, your rhythm starts at 5 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
But it starts with snuggles, and it starts with bowls of cereal and telling stories and making memories. It doesn't.
good.
It's not work. It's the Garden of Eden, and there's a certain amount of care that's required in the garden, but it's at your pace. And I think that's the key. Is naps are probably illegal in most pastors' lives, but on vacation, it's totally in bounds. If you want to take a nap and stay up late, and go to a restaurant, or I guess not without kids, but what we did too. Sometimes when our kids were little, we'd take friends along that had kids, and we'd swap them. So we'd watch their kids one night while they went on a date, and vice versa. And
I love that
you
idea.
know, just any. But again, I'm an old guy talking to younger pastors right now. Make memories with your kids. The 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, does not
Yeah,
make memories very often. It's the camping, it's the campfire,
yeah,
our kids are little. We spent money we didn't have to take them to a wonderful resort, and they don't remember that. What they remember was getting on the bike and chasing the seagulls in the parking lot. It was
right.
free, by the way. The bike we owned, the seagulls were free, and through the Eckerd's Drugs parking lot, we chased seagulls. Well, but the important thing is not that they didn't get a memory out of Disney; it's that they did get a memory of playing with their dad, chasing seagulls, and that's what that time. That's one of the purposes of that time, is to make up, the parts of life that are the inheritance of our grandchildren. So
Yeah,
don't
that's
ignore
good.
them; it's too important.
I love it. And then the last piece of this is, the reentry phase
Yes,
to work.
yeah,
And just a couple of things there. Uh, we would encourage you to pace yourself.
yeah,
You don't have to totally catch up in the first couple of days back.
yeah.
You don't. You don't
No,
have to answer every email in the first 2 days. You don't have to return
yeah,
every call in the first 2 days. There is going to be pent-up demand
yeah,
for your time. And I would encourage you to regulate the flow of those appointments.
yeah,
Regulate the flow of them. Ease your way back into face-to-face meetings with people. And
yeah,
then at some point, Jim, I think it would be a good use of your time upon reentry to work to reflect on your time away. Like,
yeah.
what was the best part of your vacation? What did
Yes,
you enjoy the most?
yeah,
Did God drop
yeah,
anything into your heart while you're on vacation? I tell you, when I'm by the ocean, Jim, and I
yeah,
see I hear the roar and I see the beauty of it in the water, it seems like it's it's like a perfect setup for me. And God just starts
mm,
to drop stuff in my heart and show me
yeah,
things. And maybe even you do a little eval, like, man, I'm not going to do that again on
yeah,
vacation, like, and
yeah,
and spending a little bit of time reflecting. Look, um, we think if you're going to have longevity in ministry, there's a lot of variables there, but one of the variables is that there is this annual respite from your work,
mhm,
from your routine, to recharge, to refuel, to rest, to get back in touch with the most important disciples in your life,
yeah. That's a good way to say that.
spouse
Yep,
and your
yep,
kids. And
yep,
we want you
mm,
to have a great vacation this summer. We want you, and you might be. I want to say this too, Jim. You might think, well, I don't have the funds for vacation. There are so many opportunities for pastors to go to places that reduce cost or no cost And if you want to get tapped into some of that, you just go to our contact form on convergecoach.com and we'll get you connected with these places that offer, all you have to do is get there and they'll offer you lodging. And some of these places are beautiful, Jim. And it's either free for pastors or missionaries, or it's a highly reduced cost. And so don't allow even the financial piece of that to stop you. There are ways to accomplish this, whether you've got the funds at hand or maybe you don't. So Jim, that's what's on my mind today. And I hope that it really comes across the right way. We're here for lots of reasons, but one of them is we want you to learn how to enjoy life while you're leading. And we think both of those are possible, that you can lead well and still have a lot of fun, good, clean fun in life. And we want you to do both.
Right on. Yeah, John, that's brilliant. I love that we are helping people get ready for a wonderful season called summer. It's a gift from God, especially in Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Montana, South Dakota, places that we do a lot of work, Idaho. It's so important that when the sun is shining and the birds are singing and we're not fighting it, we're letting it be a wave that we surf, not a wave that crushes us. We said in the last pod and this one, just taking that special time. I love that statement about, taking care of the most important disciples in your life. That was a beautiful way to, makes me want to go on vacation right now. Actually, if Laura can't go next year, I'll go with you because you know how to party, John Obolewski. That pot of coffee and stuff, I'm down with that. We should call it like a tax deductible Converge business retreat of some sort. That'd be good. Yeah, no, it wouldn't. Anyway, so hey, our prayer for you is you'd make memories with your kids. You'd take long walks on the beach with your spouse, that you would enjoy food that is rich and luxurious and not worry about the calories, that you'd store up for a time of enjoyment with what God is giving you, a Sabbath of Sabbaths, in a row, enjoying God, enjoying people. That is a gift from the Lord and a gift to your family and to yourself. So don't kid yourself. Books aren't written just in studies. They're started on vacations. Best sermons you'll ever preach are not started in your study. They're started on vacation. They're started when there's time, boredom even. Some of the best things that have ever come out of me happened because I was bored. I wasn't overwhelmed anymore. My soul's at peace and I was still wanting to do something. So please take the time. And if we can help in any way at Converge, you know how to get a hold of us, convergecoach.com. And there's a connect link. There's all the resources, the books, what we do, who we are. But on top of that, if you want to have a conversation about things like this or anything, you say, Jim, I'm not ready for vacation. I'm banging my head against the wall. I'm not sure if I can make it. Call us. My marriage is on the rocks. Call us. I'm stuck with a significant, difficult leader or leadership decision. Call us. We are here. So I could enjoy a vacation right now. I'm in the middle of war, but call us. Let's talk about the war. If we can't help you, we'll find somebody who can. So God bless you, our dear watchers and listeners. We hope that 2023 provides opportunities all summer long for you to just have the best summer of your life. Enjoy the campfires. I feel like Tim Allen, the pure Michigan, but just enjoy it because it's a gift from God. Don't pass it up. Open it up, play with it loudly. It delights the heart of the Father. So God bless you as you continue to lead from alignment.